I bought the cabin to escape people like her. Tucked away at the edge of the woods. My little retreat wasn't just a vacation spot, it was my peace. No traffic, no neighbors breathing down my neck. And most importantly, no HOA. Or so I thought. I was chopping wood early that morning when I first saw her. Tight-lipped, arms folded like she was holding the sky in place. Standing on the gravel path like a statue of judgment. Her perfectly ironed blouse and blindingly white sneakers didn't belong anywhere near a forest. She had the expression of someone about to scold a toddler or issue a fine. "You can't park that there," she snapped, pointing at my guest's SUV parked neatly beside my cabin. "This is HOA land." I blinked, confused. "HOA? There's no HOA out here. This is private property." She scoffed. "Well, we recently formed one. You should have received the notice. All properties on the lane are subject now." I stared at her like she'd grown a second head. "Lady, I'm at the end of the road. I didn't sign anything, and no one gets to tell me how to live on land I paid for." She frowned deeper, eyes twitching. "We've had complaints. You have guests, parties, noise. You're disrupting the tranquility of our community." There it was, the real reason. My best friend Max had arrived 2 days ago. Loud laugh, louder music, always grilling and cracking jokes. I guess that didn't sit well with Karen. "I've got one guest," I said, "and we haven't broken any laws." She didn't like that. Her jaw clenched like a bear trap. "This is your final warning," she hissed. "Either you comply, or I'll take matters into my own hands." I laughed. Big mistake. She spun on her heel and stormed off down the gravel road. I didn't think much of it until the next morning. At 6 a.m., I heard it. Boom. My cabin door shook on its hinges. Another crash. Splinters flew. I scrambled out of bed and ran to the front room. There she was, Karen herself, shoulder deep in splinters, shouting, "You're under citizen's arrest." Max was right behind me. He rubbed his eyes, took one look at the mess, and muttered, "Oh, she picked the wrong day for this." And that was the moment everything changed. The morning chill still clung to the air, but inside my cabin, the temperature exploded. Karen, half in, half out of my now shattered doorway, was pointing a shaky finger in my face, like she was some kind of authority. "You are in violation of multiple HOA regulations, and I am conducting a citizen's arrest." I stared at her, stunned. My mind struggled to process the fact that she had just broken into my home to arrest me. Max, still shirtless and groggy but already walking with purpose, crossed the room in 3 long strides. "You just broke this man's door," he growled. "That's breaking and entering, lady." Karen whipped around, clearly startled. Her tough act flickered for a second. "You don't scare me," she barked, adjusting her belt bag like it was a utility belt. "You're a guest. This property is under review, and I've got the right to perform a citizen's arrest when I see." "See what?" Max interrupted, voice like thunder now. "A man sleeping in his own home while some lunatic crashes through his door before sunrise." Karen backed up slightly, but the adrenaline had her mouth running. "I've filed multiple complaints," she hissed. "Loud music, beer cans, smoke from the grill. I've warned you. I've got backup coming." "Great," I snapped. "Let them come, and I'll have a little surprise waiting for them." I pointed to the small camera mounted just above the front door frame. A red light blinked steadily. "You just broke into my home on camera, Karen." She paled. "I'll sue you for damages," I continued. "Trespassing, vandalism, attempted false arrest. Hell, I might even throw in emotional distress just for fun." Max grinned, stepping in front of me like a bodyguard. "Hope your HOA covers legal fees." But Karen wasn't done yet. She pulled out her phone and started recording us like she was the victim. "You're threatening me. You're threatening a woman. This will go viral. You'll both be behind bars by tonight." Max laughed, a deep, mocking laugh that echoed through the cabin. "Lady, you just made yourself real famous. And you still don't know who you're messing with." Her eyes flicked to him, suddenly wary. "Who are you?" He leaned in, calm and deliberate. "Let's just say I've dealt with louder Karens. And I didn't come here alone." Karen turned just as a second car pulled into the gravel driveway. The door swung open, and a woman stepped out, dressed in a sharp black suit and sunglasses. "Ma'am," the woman said coldly, "you need to step back. I'm with the sheriff's office." And that was the moment Karen realized this wasn't her show anymore. Karen's confidence drained from her face like someone pulled the plug. The woman who'd stepped out of the black SUV walked with purpose. Her posture screamed authority. Her eyes scanned the scene like she'd already seen it all and wasn't impressed. Karen took a step back as if some part of her realized she had finally pushed too far. "I'm Lieutenant Grace Monroe," the woman said, flashing a badge before tucking it back into her blazer. "Sheriff's Office. We've been informed of multiple unauthorized attempts by an HOA representative to enforce power they don't legally hold." Karen's voice wobbled. But I filed complaints. This man has guests. Loud ones. He's a threat to the neighborhood peace." Lieutenant Monroe didn't blink. "That's not your call to make. And unless you're sworn law enforcement, smashing down someone's door at 6 a.m. isn't a citizen's arrest, it's a felony." Karen gasped, pointing desperately at Max. "He threatened me." Lieutenant Monroe's eyes flicked to Max. "Is that true, sir?" Max, calm and cool, leaned against the doorframe like he had all the time in the world. "No, ma'am." I calmly informed her she was trespassing. Also pointed out the camera that captured her breaking and entering. Grace turned to the camera, nodded. "I'll need a copy of that footage." "Already uploading to the cloud," Max said with a wink. Karen's jaw clenched. "You're all working together. This is harassment." That's when Max finally stepped forward, letting the truth drop like a bomb. "Karen," he said slowly, "you thought I was just some loud guest. But I'm a retired federal investigator. I still consult. You stormed into the wrong cabin." Karen blinked like she'd just been slapped. "You're lying." Grace crossed her arms. "He's not. We've worked cases together." Silence. Karen turned white, then red, then white again. Her fists trembled at her sides as her whole body locked up in denial. You can't arrest me," she finally whispered. "I'm not arresting you," Grace replied. "Not yet, but you are being detained for questioning, and you'll be liable for any damages caused." Karen looked like she wanted to vanish into the forest. "This was supposed to be simple," she mumbled. "I was just trying to keep order." Max shook his head. "No, Karen. You were trying to control people. But not everyone bows to self-appointed dictators." Karen was handcuffed gently, but firmly, and led to the black SUV. As the tires crunched down the gravel drive, I turned to Max. "You didn't tell me you were ex-Fed." He smirked. "You didn't ask." I laughed. But something still didn't sit right. Because Karen's war wasn't over. It was just beginning.
Karen may have been driven away in cuffs, but the storm she stirred wasn't over. The very next morning, I got a knock at the cabin. This time a polite one. A man in khakis and a neatly tucked-in polo stood nervously at the steps. He looked like the type who printed his grocery lists. "I'm Daniel, HOA president. At least I was." I crossed my arms. "You here to break my windows too?" He chuckled nervously. No. Actually, I'm here to apologize. And, deliver some news." I glanced over at Max, who had stepped outside sipping coffee, still amused by yesterday's circus. "Let's hear it," I said. Daniel scratched the back of his neck. We didn't know Karen was taking things that far. She told the board she was just checking on disturbances. We never approved anything. Once news got out, well, people started asking questions. He handed me a folder. Inside, meeting transcripts, official HOA emails, and minutes from the meeting where Karen unilaterally declared my property within HOA jurisdiction. Max peeked over my shoulder and let out a low whistle. "She forged the map." Daniel nodded grimly. "She altered boundary lines, lied about votes, and started enforcing rules on properties she had no legal authority over, including yours. She called it a proactive expansion." I stared at the documents, stunned. Karen had fabricated an entire web of lies just to extend her reach and control. "She did it before," Daniel added. "Turns out this isn't her first. HOA got kicked off the last 2 boards for the same power grabs." Max laughed. "So she's a repeat offender." Daniel sighed. "We voted to dissolve the current HOA board last night. We'll be rebuilding with real boundaries. And you, sir, are completely off the map." He handed me a notarized letter confirming that my property was excluded from all HOA regulation now and forever. I smiled. Guess that cabin really is my fortress of freedom. Daniel walked off, humbled and embarrassed. But Max wasn't done. Later that evening, he uploaded the full video footage online. He blurred my face, but not Karen's, titled it, "Psycho HOA Lady Tries to Arrest. Man in His Own Cabin Gets Schooled by Ex-Fed." Within 24 hours, it had 1 million views. By the end of the week, Karen's face was everywhere. Memes, TikToks, reaction videos, even a parody skit. She lost her job, got slapped with a lawsuit, and I heard, ironically enough, she tried moving into another HOA. but every board she applied to rejected her. As for me, my door's been fixed, the grill's hot, and Max is already planning his next visit. Out here in the woods, peace has finally returned. Because no Karen, HOA or otherwise, can conquer this cabin again.
If you think every Karen deserves a reality check, then go ahead and smash that like button. Drop a comment below saying, "No one messes with the cabin." And for more epic revenge stories like this one, subscribe to the channel, or the next knock on the door might just be for you.